Hello and welcome to another video. In this video, people requested me to do like a post Codesmith job search thing and like how it's going and all these things. So that's what we're going to be doing here. So I will briefly say that I think I finished Codesmith at the end of September or so, and then I started applying to jobs last week. So I did take some time off from that, and I was just kind of like learning new stuff. So I'll kind of show some of the things that I can't like really um, open some of the things that they gave me because they have like URLs and I'm not supposed to like share that stuff. But I will say some of the things they give you and like you know how the job search is going and so on. So I can show some of this stuff. So essentially, what happens is when you graduate, you get invited to an alumni Slack, which has a bunch of channels. So it has like a general channel about what's going on all the time, and like a have you interviewed channel, a Hiresmith channel where someone actually runs stuff. And so, yeah, you get access to all these things. You also get access to the career support engineers that they have. So basically, if you want a resume review or a mock interview or anything, you can set up an appointment as often as you want. I think it's like they are kind of busy, so like it's hard to find appointment dates, but I think you can set up an appointment like once every 2 weeks or so on anything you want. So that can be kind of helpful. And then yeah, they also have all these like channels, and people do post if they have like some kind of job opportunities for people, then they'll post it in here. And then they still do post in my like cohort channel and stuff. And there I also have like a hiring support channel, which I'm not gonna like share exactly what they said, but essentially, it's basically a channel where you can ask the people that work on the job search at Codesmith anything you have, and then they'll answer it. So you can kind of use it for like any questions you have. And basically, as far as how it's been going so far, so what I've been doing after graduating is I did take some time off from applying because I was a little bit burned out after just doing like 10 hours a day for 3 months. So now I'm kind of getting back into applying. And the other thing I'm working on is I'm still working on our extension. And so I'm meeting with my OSP group every week and working on that with them. And essentially, our extension has like a decent amount of downloads. So I think we have like almost 6K downloads in a month and a half, which is like really good for a non-advertised, non-anything extension. And it was also trending in like the VS Code store for like the first month and stuff. So essentially, we actually got like a lot of traffic, a lot of stars. People are posting like issues, like what they want us to do, and we're kind of figuring out like, okay, what should we add, what should we not add, and it's actually decent engineering practice because essentially like people have feature requests, but a lot of the feature requests they have would break some of the things we have. So you're kind of like, it's kind of simulating your customers telling you like, I want these things, and then you're basically going back and forth and figure out like, okay, what's actually useful and what should we not work on. And so people are like contributing, making feature requests and stuff, and we are adding stuff to it, and we should have like a decent size update in the next few weeks. And other than that, so basically what I've been doing, yeah, applying to jobs. So I usually just go on like LinkedIn jobs, and then they have a bunch of jobs, and I just go and click on like show the jobs, and I try to filter it by first of all, what I usually do is like I kind of look at like the company, and if I know nothing about it and like I'm kind of indifferent towards working there, then I usually don't spend too much time applying there. Right? I'll maybe make like a simple cover letter or something, or easy apply if they have it. Might as well. And if the job I'm more interested in, then I try to like go on the company website, and then so let's say we go to some job like let's see here. That's not so let's say we go to something that doesn't have an easy apply as well. And the other thing I use like a simplify extension, which is kind of nice because it essentially fills out all the like basic stuff for you. So I would definitely recommend that. But essentially, so you can go to like the site, and then you can like hit apply, and let's see, apply manually maybe. If they make make a work day, that's kind of annoying. Let's go to another one. Don't want to make a work day. Yeah, let's hopefully this one doesn't. So let's say we like apply to this and apply for this job. So essentially what this will do is, I'm not going to fill in all my info now, but it'll like fill this out for you. And then usually, yeah, so I have like a cover letter template that I like essentially I have a bunch of cover letters that I applied to jobs with, and I save that, and then they did tell you like how they want you to um, make your cover letters, like what kind of cover letters work and so on, and they have like resume workshops every week as well with a person who also shows you all that kind of stuff. So it's like the I felt like the career support they were doing wasn't really great to start off, but then they give you a lot of stuff like right as you graduate. So there's definitely a lot there. But yeah, essentially I'm just applying to like 5 to 10 jobs a day, and then getting emails and stuff. And I actually do have a interview next week with someone, so that's gonna be interesting. But yeah, essentially, other than that, other than applying to jobs, what I've decided to focus on personally is just studying things really in depth. Because during Codesmith, like you do learn a bunch of stuff, but you learn kind of like surface level information. Kind of like algorithms. Like if I didn't know algorithms at all, if I only learned them from Codesmith, most people from Codesmith probably couldn't do LeetCode mediums when they graduated, or maybe could. So like roughly there. So it's kind of the same with the other stuff. I was just like, okay, I'm just going to focus on really going in depth into things instead of doing projects. I'm just going to go really, really in depth into everything and learn as much as I can. So then I am as good with the other stuff as I am with algorithms. And I definitely do like enjoy learning new stuff. So I've been like going in more in depth in like Python, backend engineering, like React, just focusing on like small React components. Like I made something here, show it real quick. So if I have like a simple component that like makes an API request, and then I try to like literally just like follow all the best practice for everything. Like how to use Axios. Let's say I have some API key here in my A&D folder. How you would actually use it instead of just like writing an API key, hard coding it directly into here, and just small components and trying a bunch of things out and really going into depth and being like, okay, how exactly does everything work? I think that's kind of more interesting for me than working making big projects that I don't really know exactly how all the things work. Like I'd rather focus super in depth into everything and just make small things for now. So essentially, I made something like this where you could search for something whenever you want, like Ferrari or something, right? It basically is like a Google search simulator that uses an API. So you can search for whatever you want. It makes a bunch of pictures of it and things like that. So I'm kind of focusing on making these small things that I think once I get like super good knowledge of things, then I'll focus on building bigger stuff. And as far as like landing a job and all that stuff, since I did play poker professionally before this, I'm not super concerned about like getting a job right away. Like I'm financially fine, so that's not my focus. I'm just uh, focusing on learning new stuff. So if I don't like get a job or something in the next, let's say 6 months, I'll be super super familiar with like React and like all these other things. So it's kind of like the longer I don't get a job, the better dev I'll be, to be honest, because I can just go in depth and study and I have a lot of free time and study all these things um, almost all day. And the other plan I was actually going to do is once I either get a job and I'm comfortable in on board and like kind of like start autopiloting stuff, I'm probably going to do a master's in ML. Uh, because I think ML is kind of interesting, and a lot of jobs might not even like want you to do ML specifically, but they say like they want AI experience. So I'm just gonna do like a part-time online masters while getting a job, and just look for universities that do that. I think a lot of them do that now. A lot of good ones do that, so I'll just apply to those. Um, and yeah, I think that's mostly it. And then as far as like people ask like, is Codesmith worth it and so on. Like, I guess it's like, so this is kind of very similar to when I was doing poker. I actually joined like a stable from like a coached by like a very very good poker player, like a top poker player, and people had this like false impression of if I join, I'll just be really good at poker because like this guy's really good. So like if I join, I just don't have to do anything. And I think it's like kind of similar, where as far as if you think you can just like join a boot camp with zero knowledge, and as long as you join, you just like guarantee yourself a job and you'll be really good at coding in 3 months. It's kind of like delusional in my opinion. So if you are considering like, is Codesmith right for me and so on, I would definitely say make sure you have like, honestly, the more foundational knowledge you have, the better, because then you won't be like rushed through the topics. So like I was really good at DSA and I had a CS degree, but I never did sites. So that kind of stuff definitely was a bit rushed for me. And as far as like I said, is it worth it or not? So they give you kind of like the bare bones you need to get a job, and then they also give you like they give you enough to continue on yourself. So once you graduate, if you're the type of person that's like, I need a strict schedule and then I can't work without a strict schedule. Well, in reality, like once you graduate, you'll have like probably the skills to get a job. But the problem is if you just don't do anything afterwards, like if you just apply to jobs, like you kind of have to maintain that schedule. Maybe not as hard, but like you have to kind of maintain like a learning environment. So you have to think of coding more of a like a I'm not just gonna learn X, stop, and get a job, and then my learning's done here. It's like a continuous learning process where you have to be willing to learn for years and years and years. And luckily for me, that's like I always kind of had that attitude, I guess, where like maybe that's why I switched like careers a decent amount of time is because I'm totally fine learning new things. I'm totally fine being in school. A lot of people don't like that kind of stuff. So if that is for you, then I would definitely recommend it. And yeah, they do have like a decent amount of support. And also the other benefits are you work with a group, so you actually make like decent sized projects with a group, which you're not gonna have the chance of doing by yourself, right? Like how many people do you know that are coding that are just gonna be willing to sit with you and work with you in a group? Yeah, and then as far as like the career support, I'm also I guess lucky enough that I have like friends in tech, so like I can do career support or I can just ask those people, and it's kind of like the same thing. Um, and I think for the most part that's it. Let me think if there's anything else I wanted to cover. But yeah, I guess they do like so another good point I realized, and this is from another thing honestly, that people are like, oh, the job market's hard and so on. In reality, like I know people that have CS jobs, especially like even mid-level CS jobs, and like a lot of their coding ability isn't as good as you think. So there's a lot of people in tech that and I get all these posts all the time, that people that work that are like, my coworker did this and they're like a senior engineer at like a good company. And it's like people aren't as good as coding it you think, and it's just about like can you work hard enough to surpass them? And if you can work hard enough to surpass them, then good for you. And if you like realistically, once you graduate and you do the job search, best case scenario realistically, unless you have like a ridiculous resume that you did something like really good in, you're gonna have like 10% interview rate. And so you're gonna have to like accept the fact that like it's gonna be kind of slow. You're gonna get a lot of rejections, and you're gonna be able to have to deal with it and like grow. So if that is for you, if you can handle it, then I definitely think Codesmith is pretty good. Also, realistically, if you can, like, if you want to save money and you are able to learn by yourself and you are able to just sit there and grind for like 6 hours a day, you could probably learn all these Codesmith topics more in depth, to be honest, from like a Udemy course. Like, uh, yeah, I think you definitely can. So the thing that Codesmith really provides is structure and working in a group and giving you like a tailored learning plan if you don't know where to begin. Also, like for me, let's say if I have a CS degree and so on, yeah, like writing that I graduated Codesmith isn't going to help my resume. But if you're like, no degree, or you have a degree in something completely unrelated to tech, then like writing Codesmith on your resume would probably help you a little bit. But yeah, I'd say, am I like sorry that I paid the money to do it? Definitely not. I learned quite a bit of stuff, and more importantly, I have a foundation that's good enough to like I can learn whatever I want and I actually like am enjoying learning new things. So, yeah, I'll probably make like a job search update in a month or two just to like let people know how it's going. But yeah, so far it's too early to tell. It's like my second weekend or something, and like I said, I do have one call next week, and yeah, and I definitely should be applying a little bit more than I want to. But honestly, I'm kind of enjoying the learning process, and I'm not super concerned with getting a job super fast. So yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this video. And if you have any comments or any other questions, just ask me in the comments. And thanks for watching.